Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Happy Wednesday. My name is Bridget Dooney. I'm a graduate program advisor in the Department of Computer Science. I work with the professional master's students, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sarah Fricks, who also works with professional master's students. Sarah is going to be helping out with the chat and any questions that we get at the end of the session. And let's get started. Thank you all so much for joining. Okay. Hoping that everyone can see my screen here. Cool. Perfect. Well, like I said, welcome everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the Masters of Computer Science at the University of Colorado Boulder. Like I said, my name is Bridget Dooney. I'm a graduate program advisor. And just a few housekeeping items before we get started. We ask that you mute yourself. If you can keep your camera on, you're more than welcome to do so. Like we said, this meeting is being recorded. And any questions that you have can go in a document that Sarah's going to put in the chat. That way that you'll get this presentation after the session, and you can refer back to the presentation as well as the document. We have plenty of sessions going on this fall, so we want to make sure that you're using this as a resource when you're completing your application in the future. So you can add any questions that you have to that document that will be in the chat. And if we have time at the end of the presentation, you're more than welcome to unmute yourself or use the chat to ask any questions that you have, and myself and Sarah can answer them. And again, this presentation will be made available to you after the session. We'll send you an email, so definitely keep your eye out for that. All right, so getting into it, why Boulder? Boulder is, in my opinion, one of the most perfect places to live. We're just less than an hour from Denver International Airport, Red Rocks Amphitheater, which is a concert venue built into the rocks in Golden, Colorado. We have an amazing sports scene. Well, not so much the Rockies, that's the baseball team, but the Nuggets just won the championship this year. CU Boulder also is really doing well in their American football this season, thanks to Deion Sanders or Coach Prime, you may have seen. We also have a ton of breweries, and there's really just something for everyone here, whether you like the outdoors or you more like exploring cities. We have all those opportunities here. Plus, we have 45,000 acres of public lands and skiing right in your backyard. In addition to that, on the more professional side, we are a technology hub. The cost of living is cheaper than most coastal cities, so you'll find that a lot of technology companies do come to Boulder because of this entrepreneurial spirit that CU gives back to the community. So we're #1 in the US per capita for tech startups, and it goes to show with all of the other rankings listed below. And we're also home to Techstars, which is a global tech incubator. Our students do have the opportunity in the professional program, in the master's program, to present to tech startups and possibly have their idea invested in by these startups. And you can, stay in touch with the community in that way. All right, and some additional rankings from the University of Colorado, not so much Boulder, but we're tied number 35 overall and number 18 amongst public institutions for our master's in computer science and our PhD in computer science. And we have one of the best engineering graduate programs based on peer assessment, doctoral degrees awarded, student to faculty ratio, % of faculty in NAE, and research expenditures. So we really do prioritize ensuring that you have a great experience when you do come to the University of Colorado and the community in Boulder at large as well. So why specifically computer science? That's what we're all here for, right? We're interested in pursuing possibly a master's in computer science. Our department really does focus on a work-life balance. Our students really appreciate this. They work really hard, but we also have a lot of events hosted by the department, as well as, the staff and faculty ensure that you are taking time for yourself, because we know that you can't burn yourself at both ends of the candle, right? You're working hard. We want to make sure that you're taking time to continue working hard, but by taking some breaks as well. You'll often see faculty or staff on a hike maybe, or skiing before work, or riding their bike to and from work, getting exercise in. So we really just want to stress that people work hard, but they play hard as well. We focus on entrepreneurship. That's because of the influence of the city of Boulder and the university symbiotic relationship. So we're located in one of the most entrepreneurial cities in the nation. Looking inwards at our community, we have about 75 faculty in computer science, and we're located within the College of Engineering and Applied Science. So that means that you are able to take advantage of any of the engineering programs and engineering classes as a student here, and the colleges and centers and institutes that the College of Engineering and Applied Science hosts within their umbrella. The institutes are listed here, and you are also able to look outward to the university as at large. You can take classes in applied math in the School of Education, the Leeds School of Business, a law class if you're interested in that. So we really do have a ton of opportunities, not just within our community, but thanks to the university in general. And we do have a flourishing research programs here. I'm not going to list all of them, but we are a premier Research One institution. So our computer science faculty, staff, and students are engaged in various ways and in different areas of research. So in the tech community in the Boulder, Denver area, companies in and near Boulder are Google, Apple, Amazon, Twitter, Oracle, Uber, a lot of robotics and biotech companies, but those are the big names that we always like to note because that's what people like to see. So we are a very hot tech community. A lot of companies are coming here, having in-office experiences and also that remote option as well. Continuing on to our computer science department, the computer science faculty, like I said, is about 75 people. We have about 1,800 undergraduate students with a computer science major. More specifically, I'll just note the master's students. We have just shy of 300 master's students, 115 in the research base and 180 in the professional based. We also have a master's of network engineering. If you're interested in that, we do also have sessions for that, or you can ask questions in the chat about the program. And these are our organizations, just talking about our community, our student-run organizations, our students giving back to their peers. So I'll just note the first three, because that is mainly what the department helps facilitate. So we have the Computer Science Graduate Student Association. They work primarily on the social aspect. So upcoming later today, we're going to have a town hall for students to give feedback to staff and faculty on how to better our community. Later this month, we're having a cross-cultural event. So people are able to showcase their food, their culture. People do performances as well. It's really great for our staff, faculty, and our students to all come together and celebrate our diverse student population, our staff population, or faculty population as well. They have Friendsgiving, just to name a few. And then we have the Computer Science Graduate Professionals Development Club, again, another student-run organization that helps students prepare for job interviews and prepare for the job market through coding sessions, mock interviews, and public speaking sessions. They have weekly sessions that invite companies to come to talk to students about how to beat AI when applying to jobs, how to build your resume, how to build your cover letter. Later this month, we're hosting mock interviews as well. So Oracle, Google, Amazon, they're all coming to help our students prepare for technical interviews and just kind of like a role play situation. And then lastly, the Cyber Club, they do compete nationally in cybersecurity teams, social networking within the cyber community. And it's not just for people that are only interested in cybersecurity. You can go and hone in on your skills. Cybersecurity is everywhere. So it's good to have that on your resume as a resume builder. Next slide. So moving on to the degree requirements. So when you're here, like I said, we have a handful of these degree programs, the PhD program, but you're here probably for the Masters of Computer Science, either the research-based masters or the course-based masters. We also refer to it as just the MSCS or the professional masters in computer science. So if you hear me use those phrases interchangeably, at least you'll kind of have your whereabouts of what I'm referring to, but I'll try to keep the language the same throughout so we're not getting confused. So first, starting with the research-based master's in computer science. This is 30 graduate level credits approved by the department. So we do require 9 bin classes, or often referred to as breadth courses. So you need to have 1 class from each of the bin classes. There's 3 bins, 1 from each bin class. That leads you to 9 credits. And that's just to ensure that everyone has a strong base coming into the program before they go into electives. Those breadth courses or your bin classes should be taken in your first year in the program. The next is the professional development requirement. That is 3 credits, but they come at 1 credit each. So it's CSCI 5000, Intro to Research MS, CSCI 5100, Computer Science Research Colloquia, and then you can take another seminar class of your choice. So that is one way that the research program differs from the professional program. And then you have the research requirement. You have the MS thesis or the MS independent study in research. So you are able to either choose to take a year to write your thesis or a year to do independent study. Either way, you do need a faculty advisor, and that's usually taken in your second year in the program, so you have time to build your network in Boulder and identify a faculty advisor. Then finally, you are going to take your elective classes. That consists of 12 credits. You can take up to 6 credits of non-computer science classes as long as they are graduate level, so 5,000 and above, and they're offered on the CU Boulder main campus. So that's where you can take advantage of the College of Engineering and Applied Science or the university at large. So moving on to the course-based master's program, or the MSCPS, or the professional master's program. Again, 30 credits of graduate level courses in order to graduate. Those 30 credits consist of 9 bin classes. So again, 9 bin credits, one class from each bin requirement. And then you have the subplan and elective courses. So that consists of 15 credits. So that's how it differs from the research program. You are able to enroll in a subplan listed here, and then we have all the links here as well to outline what classes you can take, but there's well over 12 credits of listed on here, so you get to choose. But for the subplan, you need 12 credits, and then overall you need 15 credits of electives. You are also able to do a general subplan, which is no subplan, and just take 15 credits of electives by the time that you graduate. And then lastly, in your last year, you're going to be enrolled in 6 credits of a capstone. So that's professional master's projects or an entrepreneurial projects course. And again, you can count your breadth courses towards your subplan requirement to free up some elective courses. Your advisors, myself and Sarah, are more than happy to help you walk you through that once you are a student here. And again, same thing, you are able to take 6 credits of non-computer science classes to count towards your degree as long as they're graduate level courses. So switching between programs, sometimes when you arrive here, you may realize that your priorities have shifted a little bit. So you can only switch your degree 1 time during your tenure in the master's program. So if you switch from the professional program to the research-based program, you do have to have a faculty advisor identified, and they'll provide a letter of recommendation to you, to the program on your behalf. And then you'll submit an option change form, and the graduate committee reviews that. Similar to how they will review your application in December or January. And then the research-based to the professional program, you just need to submit a degree option change form. And again, it will be reviewed by the graduate committee, similar to how applications are reviewed at the end of this year. Switching between degree programs is never guaranteed, and you should only do it for academic reasons, just to make a note of that and set the expectations clearly now before you even start in the program. So looking beyond your degree, what are you going to do after these 2 years that it takes you to complete the master's degree? So 6 months after graduation, a survey is sent out to all of our graduates that have graduated the program, and 77% of graduates were employed full-time or part-time, and 100% of those had full-time employment and were making, and about half of them were making $125,000 or more. 18% of them are continuing their education, so either at CU Boulder or beyond. 95% of graduates reported that their master's degree from CU gave them an advantage in their career. So the return on investment is high, is what we're learning. The master's degree in computer science does help you get that job after graduation, and not only get the job, but help prepare you for the job market. And a majority of our students said that the master's degree was helpful or required for obtaining their current position. So it helps you provide that upward mobility in your profession, or if you're just starting out, you have a really great foot forward. Top industries, most people go into professional, scientific, and technical services or information services, and then a handful of them go into finance and insurance or other services, construction, education, manufacturing, retail trade, and wholesale trade. So again, the average starting salary was $113,000. And here's just a graph providing of the respondents where they fall on a pay scale 6 months after graduation. All right, and top occupations and companies of our recent graduates. Computer and mathematical operations, again, 93%. So software and web developers, programmers, testers, analysts. This is where they usually will find themselves. This is, again, just a short list of where our students go after graduation. And we're pretty proud to say that even with the uncertainty in, the world of computer science, and our students have still been able to get jobs, and our department has been able to facilitate that post-graduation and ensure that they're prepared while in the program to go on and do great things after they graduate. So we've talked about during your program, we've talked about what you're going to do after your program, and let's talk about what we need to do right now to help get you prepared to apply to the program. So for the research-based and the course-based masters in computer science, we do require a bachelor's degree or the equivalent. Sometimes if people are coming from places outside of the United States or even within, it takes you 3 years to complete your bachelor's degree. That's fine as long as it's a bachelor's degree. And during your bachelor's degree, or if you're coming not right out of undergrad and you haven't majored in computer science, but you have to have taken 3 semesters worth of courses in math at calculus or higher and 4 semesters of classes in computer science. And those specific requirements in computer science are listed below. So you need a hardware requirement, a software requirement, a theory requirement, and you're also able to take more advanced versions of these courses. So if you've taken a master's class and haven't counted it towards another master's degree, you can use those as well. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the graduate advisors, although we recommend using a site called Transferology. It usually will be able to tell you how your classes match over if you don't have the specific course numbers or course titles. As long as they match the overall the course description of what we have at CU Boulder, it should cover similar information. So again, it doesn't have to be a specific computer systems class. That's not what we're looking for. As long as a class covers something in computer systems, that is allowable. And our admissions team reviews that before it comes to the computer science admissions committee. All right, so we do require a GPA of at least a 3.0 on a 4.0 scale. So 3.0 is the minimum. There is no need to get like a WES evaluation if you're coming from an international institution to have that calculated over. Our admissions team here at CU Boulder does do that. So there's no need, save your money. Please don't get an external evaluation. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. And then competitive applicants to the research-based program degree typically have a 3.5 GPA or higher, and competitive applicants to the course-based masters have a 3.3 or higher. So again, the minimum requirement is a 3.0, and you're eligible to apply based on that GPA. And your GRE is not required. So again, going back to saving your money and your time, please do not, if you have not taken the GRE, don't take it for this program at least, and don't submit it. We will not even review it. So it's truly just a waste of money if you submit it to us for at least computer science. So fully test blind on that. Application requirements. So the deadline is December 15th, 2023. So we're about 2 months out. This is a great time to start reaching out to your recommenders as well. I'll start with that. But you have to have all materials submitted by midnight Eastern time, which is 10 p.m. Mountain time. So please keep that time change in mind. We go on Eastern time when we close the application. So what do you need to do in order to meet all the application requirements and have your application reviewed? You need to complete the online application. It's going to ask you questions about what classes you've taken, your background. You'll upload your transcripts there. And speaking of transcripts, you need your unofficial transcripts. So they just need to be the ones, if you already have a copy on hand, scan it and upload it to the application. It's not required that you have to have official transcripts mailed to us at this point in time. If you're admitted and decided to come to CU, then we will look at your official transcripts, but unofficial ones, and they do need to be in English. You'll need 3 letters of recommendation. Like I said, we're about 2 months out, so this is a great time to start reaching out to recommenders and asking if they have the time to put into your recommendation. What you'll do on the application is you add the recommender's name and their email, and they automatically get an email from the application site where they can upload their letter of recommendation. And you, as the applicant, are able to track this information in your application portal. So you can see when your recommenders submit the letter of recommendation. And they do need to have that in by December 15th as well, ideally, because we start processing applications on the 16th. So we encourage everyone to remind their recommenders of the deadlines because we want to ensure that your application is reviewed and you get a decision in a timely manner, and we're not holding out for that. Next, your statement of purpose. It's typically about 2 pages. I'll get into that a little bit later. If required, we do require English language proficiency. We have additional information on our website, depending on what country you are native to. And minimum scores are listed there. Again, those are the minimum in order to be eligible to apply. So if you fall below that, please reach out to us. And then finally, you pay the application fee. You may be eligible for application fee waivers. I will get into that information a little bit later. And we'll talk about application fee waivers. But once you have all that together, by December 15th, you submit your application and your application's ready to review. Again, you are able to keep track. There is a checklist on the application portal on your status page that you are able to see what has been submitted successfully, what is completed. So if you have, the green check or tick marks, that means that something's submitted. If you have a red X, that means that it's missing. And if there's any red X's on there, we are not going to review your application. So some tips and tricks on the application, online application. This is on this online application. So the program details, that's where you'll select the program that you wish to apply to. You are also able to select other programs. So you can select, if you're interested in network engineering, you can click to be eligible to be reviewed for network engineering as well. So that is something, save yourself some money, and you don't have to submit multiple applications just because you're applying to multiple different programs. And that is only for computer science degrees. If you're applying to computer science and mechanical engineering, for instance, we're not able to just read one application. Next is the academic history. You'll add your institute, your undergraduate school, and you'll see a submit transcript. That's where you upload your unofficial transcript. And again, international students, please don't worry about a WES evaluation. You can upload it as is. And if your transcript is in your native language, please include the English translated copy as well. And then next, we're going to be talking about, it's going to ask you for additional coursework. Please do not put every single class that you have taken in your undergraduate school. We that would be wasteful of your time. That's where you're going to put your prerequisites or the equivalents of your prerequisites. So we talked about prerequisites on the previous page, and that is you'll just list those 4 or 5 classes, and as it appears in your transcript so that we can know where to look. And you don't have to put the grade field if it doesn't match the US grading system. But that's pretty important, putting in the prerequisites, because that's how we do the initial review to see who is eligible. Next is the test scores. And again, the GRE is not required for computer science at CU Boulder. It will not be part of the review process. We are completely test blind. That's where you can upload your English language proficiency score, so your TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo. There are some countries that are exempt from submitting this, so please review the website to make sure that you are submitting when necessary. And then we require 3 letters of recommendation. So those should be in by December 15th, like I said. If you ask for more recommenders, let's say you send it out to 5, note that your application will be complete. We'll stop accepting letters of recommendation once you get to 3 recommenders. So whoever the first 3 people are to submit those references, that is when the application will stop accepting recommendations. So keep that in mind, only select 3. That's what we'll read. We'll read the first 3. The committee does start looking at applications by January 5th. So if there's any delay, please note that they can get it in a little bit later. The university does go on holiday break between December 25th and January 1st. So the recommenders can submit during that time period as well. But after January 5th, your application will be incomplete if you don't have 3 recommendations submitted. And then next, the personal statement. We don't have a format or requirements for the statement of purpose. They're about 2 pages long, single space. This is for the committee to talk about, for the committee to read about you outside of what's required on the application. So outside of your transcripts and your resume. So please don't repeat your resume here. And then your employment history. This is a place to upload any resume, diploma, publications, or any other documents that that may boost your application and you want the committee to review. It should all be uploaded in one combined PDF document, and then you can upload it to your online application. All right, and then after you, I just lost my thing. Okay, and then after you submit, you cannot change your application once you've submitted. So please keep that in mind. Check your application, ask a friend to check your application, make sure everything is correct and communicated it in the way that you want it to be. You cannot change your application and neither can the advisors. So that's an important note. The admissions committee begins the review in early January, I would say, and they reach out to applicants directly if they ask for any additional information. So please don't send us additional information after your application is submitted. That's why we ask you to check it a few times, make sure you have everything in the place that it's supposed to be or that you would like it to be. Decisions are sent out by early April. So we appreciate your patience during this time. We get thousands of applications and we want to make sure we're putting in the time to ensure that we're reviewing each one diligently. You put the time in to complete your application. So we are going to put the time in to review your application, and you'll hear back via email. So be sure to check your email. It's going to prompt you to log into your application portal where you'll be able to view your decision. Again, we really appreciate your patience. We want to ensure that we're doing everyone justice by reviewing the applications and ensuring that we take the time to do that as well. Okay, application fee waiver information. The university is offering the following application fee waivers to international applicants applying to the research-based MS and/or the PhD programs. I'm not going to read every single bullet point on here, but just highlighting who would be eligible for that. And then additional application fee waivers. We, as the computer science department, do not offer application fee waivers unless you are from one of the following groups. If you are eligible for this and you fall into one of these groups, you can email the graduate admissions team. at gradadm@colorado.edu. And again, the graduate school does offer a handful of application fee waivers if you're part of the following groups. So if you do fall into these groups, please reach out to gradadm@colorado.edu. That is the graduate admissions team. So if you have any questions on the technicalities of your application or something like that, that would be the best team to reach out to. All right, and going on to funding your studies. Oops. So just reviewing the tuition for the research-based master's program, this is copied and pasted from the websites that we have linked here. And again, you will be getting this presentation at the end of the session, so you can visit our website to see more information about that. And then the professional master's in computer science is also listed on this slideshow, and again on our website as well. So talking about funding, how can we offset the cost of your degree? You're going to be here for, it usually takes students about 2 years to complete the degree. You have 4 maximum years and to complete the degree, but let's talk about how we can get that cost down. Teaching assistantships and research assistantships are opportunities that are mainly reserved for PhD students. Just about half of our current research students can be hired as teaching assistants or research assistants within the department or in outside departments as well. But within computer science, about half of our students do get those positions because, again, they're mainly reserved for PhD students. And all computer science master's students are able to work as hourly instructional support staff and support our courses as course managers or course graders. And you can also be hired for the Coursera degree program. So aside from the programs, the in-person classes that are here on a semester basis, we also have the online Coursera degree in which you are able to assist with the courses. So there are a handful of opportunities out there for students within the department. Domestic students can also connect with CU Boulder Financial Aid to learn more opportunities about funding, such as filing with FAFSA and getting grants or loans or something like that. So this information on the following slides are going to be information that our students compiled to be more transparent about the cost of living in Boulder. So they estimated this information based on needs, future preparations, and wants. So this, again, is the approximate cost as a grad student that our students put together, talking about, rent, utilities, groceries. So this is just, again, aside from being really helpful, really highlights the community that we have, that our students want to help each other. We want to make sure that you are able to support yourself and sustain your life here in Boulder while you are here in our program and beyond. Okay. Lastly, you can reach out to the advisors with any questions. I myself am Bridget Juni. I'm a grad advisor. I'm joined by Sarah Fricks, who's another graduate advisor. You can reach out to either of us and our supervisor, Rashmi Shrestha, who works with the research students. You can reach out to all of us at gradadms@colorado.edu. Some next steps that you may want to take is attend a virtual campus tour, visit the computer science website, learn more about our community, our degree programs. But yeah, let's get into questions now. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I see that the chat has been going off. I want to remind everyone that we do have the question and answer document, so we have something to refer back to in the future. I believe Sarah had put this in the chat. So, okay, amazing. Okay, cool. Thanks, Sarah. So we just put the question answer document in the chat. I'm just going through reading to see if there's any questions that haven't been answered. Okay, it looks like all of them are answered on the document. I don't see anything in the chat. Is anyone comfortable unmuting themselves and asking any questions that may not have been addressed in the document or in the chat or in the presentation? Do you accept unofficial test scores of TOEFL for admission review? No, we do require that they are the official scores, and you can send those online. They don't have to be sent in the mail, and that is also on our website. on our admission website. Just drop it in the chat. Does it help if we reach out to individual professors? I would recommend reaching out to that grad ADMS email that gets to the advisors, and we can triage from there and reach out to professors that may be best suited to answer the question. But for now, I would recommend starting by reaching out to the advisors and not directly to the professors, as they're mainly looking for current students to start in their programs. We do have something called pre-research advising sessions that you may have seen on our See Who is Recruiting for fall 2024 site, where you probably signed up for this session. The pre-research advising sessions are where professors will connect with students to talk about how they prefer to be contacted. So that is important as well. And also, apologies. Do you accept unofficial TOEFL scores? I wanted to note that I did make a mistake on that. We do accept unofficial TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo results for application review. Once you are admitted, you do have to submit valid official TOEFL, IELTS, or Duolingo scores in order to confirm your enrollment at CU Boulder. Thanks for bringing that up. So is English test required for Indian students to complete the computer science, to apply to the computer science program? I recommend checking out the website that I sent about the English language proficiency requirements to see how each country falls. That is the most up-to-date and accurate information from the International Admission Office. How cold is it get in the winter? Good question. This year seemed to have been a pretty off year. We did get a good bit of snow in Boulder, which seems to be pretty atypical. The one thing that I do like about Boulder is that even though it gets pretty chilly, so sometimes at freezing or a little bit below, it's always sunny, unless it's actively snowing. So even though you might be chilly, the sun just like warms you right up. And that is something that I really appreciate. I come from a place that it's gray a lot of the winter. So I appreciate the sunshine, even in the winter. Okay. People biking around, is it possible to get around with no car living close to campus? Yes, absolutely. Students get a free bus pass, so that can get you anywhere within the RTD system. So RTD covers Boulder, Denver, and beyond. So you are able to get anywhere for free. I have a car and I hardly use it. I take the bus everywhere, and you can bike and walk. I do ski. Where are the best nearby spots? Eldora is the closest mountain to CU Boulder. There is a bus that gets you there, and again, the bus is free for students. So that is about 15 miles away. Anything other than that, you're going to be going a little bit farther. Winter Park is the closest up I-70, which is the major thruway in Colorado. I like Copper Mountain personally, but that's a little bit farther. You're 3 hours in the car there driving. So approximately how much acceptance rate will be for internationals? So we don't review applications based on domestic or international. We review all applications the same in a holistic process. We do have the acceptance rate does vary based on who is graduating and the strength of the application pool. So we generally are accepting, and we want to maintain the student amount. So around 300 to 350 master's students. And that is, I hope that answers your question, but we don't specifically review for international versus domestic. We review them all the same. On average, what percentage of MSCS cohort has previous work experience? That's a really good question. It really does vary. And I would say it would be a smaller percentage of people that have work experience prior to coming into the research program in computer science. Oh, thanks, Sarah, for taking that out in the chat too. But the research computer science, previous work experience, it was a smaller percentage. We do receive a handful of people that are coming doing career changes. So they do have work experience, but maybe not in computer science, for instance. And we do have a handful of people that are coming right out of undergrad and interested in pursuing their research and kind of treating this as like a pre-PhD program. There's no way to notify you of public vacations completed or honors received after December 15th. It may be helpful to put in progress on your resume if it's something that you have submitted or pending approval. If it's something that you have already completed and it's just pending the approval of like a peer review, I recommend putting the current status of it. But yes, there's no way to update your application after December 15th. I'm going to go back to the document because that's the best place to be looking for any questions. Right. It seems that things are slowing down unless anyone would like to unmute and ask any questions.
I do have a question. Maybe I misunderstood, but for what I understood that the sessions for pre-research and recruitment session for labs is for only for students who are already accepted at the university, right?
So the pre-research advising sessions would be good for anyone to attend if you're interested in a specific professor's research to learn more about it. Our current students are required to go. So if you're admitted and start the research-based masters next year, you'll be required to go to all of these sessions again. But they do vary based on who's recruiting, like who's actively looking for students. But they are helpful to go to learn more about what professors are doing research and how they prefer to be contacted, if they prefer to be contacted at all. So sometimes they ask you to reach out to like their lab assistant or something. So does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. So how much expectation is from the professors for in terms of, for example, experience on that area for master students and also for PhD? Is there
So
any?
go ahead. Oh, okay. So I just want to make sure that I understand your question. You're asking how much experience is required in the application?
No, sorry, I maybe I phrased it wrongly. What I meant is that like the professors, for example, for master students, like I never worked with machine learning. It's an example, and I contact a professor that is working on machine learning. Do they expect me to have previous experience, or they also willing to hear from people without experience on that area?
Yeah, good question. That's going to be something that they cover in the pre-research advising session usually. And they'll usually say like who they're looking for in it, like what they're looking for in someone that could be hired in their lab. And it may say that you have taken a machine learning in undergrad or in grad, right? And that may be your chance. We do offer machine learning as a class in your first semester. So you could take that starting out and then knowing that you have a strong base for that. It just depends on the professor and what kind of research that they're doing. So I recommend going to that, just looking around, seeing what you're interested in. Does that help? Does that
Yeah,
answer?
that sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming. Okay. Just one note also I see in the chat, we receive about 1,800 to 1,900 applications for an intake of just around 100 per program. So that's not for PhD, not for all programs. Okay, and we do have a handful of big tech companies that is in the presentation, but Sarah also added it to the chat, so thank you for that. Okay, I see that the chat has slowed down. If there's any questions that we have after this session, you do have access to that virtual recruitment questions document, so feel free to add your questions there, and you're more than welcome to add your questions and we review this after the session as well, or you can send us an email. We're more than happy to help via email as well. Do you need to find an advisor before applying to the master's thesis program? I believe that this is in the virtual recruitment questions document, but if it's not, I'll just say it out loud. No, it's not required that you have an advisor before applying to the master's thesis. That's why your thesis and independent study is in your second year. Do you have any dual master's programs? The professional master's in computer science does offer dual master's programs, but if you're asking if you can do the research computer science program and the professional computer science at the same time, the answer is no. All right, like I said, engineering management.
Hello, Bridget. I had a question.
Yeah.
So I did my undergraduate in electrical and electronics engineering,
Mhm.
and I have a few years of work experience, and I want to do master's in computer science, research based. So I was wondering, for the prerequisites, will some of my work experience count towards the prerequisites, or like I've had some of my subjects in programming classes and some computer science program, and I have work experience specifically in computer science. So I was wondering if that would be helpful.
So we do require the classes to be the prerequisites to be met. It cannot be substituted with work experience. So those classes or the equivalents do need to be met before you apply.
Okay, and how would I measure what courses would meet what requirements? Because of course they will not match the same name as on my transcripts. So can I send to you all the transcripts beforehand before applying to see, or if I also submit my application and then you can let me know during the admission process, if possible, then like you have these many remaining prerequisites, and then I can do it in the when I've enrolled. So is that also possible?
So please don't send us your transcripts. We're not able to provide that kind of advice prior to the application process. But that question is also in the Q&A document. So we recommend using transferology as something to see what classes are the equivalent to the CU Boulder prerequisites. And Sarah also just put the information in the chat as well. So that's the best place to start.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Good questions. Right, I think the slowdown of the chat means that we're nearing the end of our presentation. So I'm going to start closing remarks. Thank you all so much for joining, and thank you for being interested in the University of Colorado Boulder. We hope to see your application soon. Remember, the deadline is December 15th. If you have any questions after the session, feel free to add them to the program Q&A document, and we'll review those after the session. Sarah and I go in and review the questions, ensure that they are answered. And you might already have some questions that are answered in the document. So just check that. It's a really helpful document as you review and go through the application process. If something comes up, feel free to email us. We're more than happy to help. And thank you again for attending, and have a good rest of your day.